So it started raining. I had to get an umbrella. But I want to tell you guys about the next part of the story, which is the best part of all. So at some point, a few months later, after my big ordeal, one of the preachers at the church preached a message on the Song of Solomon in the Bible. It's basically like a love story. That's a parable of Jesus in the church. That's all pointing to like the true marriage, the true, like, that's not earthly, that's spiritual, but it's all about love, and it's about God loving us so much. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyways, so he preached a message on this, and apparently he had preached it before, like 20 years ago, but I wasn't even around at that, to hear it at that time. And it, like, literally was like a difference of night and day. Like, what I told you guys before, what they preached in my church, it was not like the Song of Solomon at all. It was all like judgment and condemnation and righteousness, as in, righteousness by your works, and it was like a lot, other stuff too, but it was not about like anything like Song of Solomon at all. Well, this is why I think that, like, God literally orchestrated this literally just for me, because I was so deeply impacted by this message. Like, in the middle of him preaching, or at some point, I remember, like, my heart was just opening. I had never heard anything like this in my life. And my heart began to just open up, and I started crying in the middle of the message, which never happens. I've never cried in the middle of the message. And it was just like, what? It was like seeing something for the first time in your entire life, like just this perspective of God, and like that God could love us that much, that he could have a relationship with us, that he just loves us even when we're in the process, like when we're not perfect yet. He loves us. Like when we are struggling, he loves us, and he says, "You're so beautiful to me." Like, what? Like, I thought I had to become perfect in order for God to accept me. And so it was huge for me to hear this. And I truly think God had him do that just for me. It was exactly when I needed it. And in the weeks that followed, I was still hungry for more. Like, he went on preaching, but it wasn't as good as the first message. The first few messages were the best. And I found myself so hungry for more of what I had tasted in that message that he preached. And so one time on a Sunday at church, they had a call for prayer, which they would do normally. If somebody was sick, or if you're dealing with something, you'd go up and get prayer. Well, I wasn't sick, but I was really hungry for Jesus. I was really hungry for God and to know him more in that way. And so I had this thought, like, I could go up for prayer, and then I thought, no. At first I had this kind of little war going on, like, no, you're not even sick, why would you do that? You don't need anything. But then, because you going up in front of everybody, that's just kind of, you don't want to do that. But something inside of me was just like, no, I want Jesus at any cost. I don't care. Like, nothing's going to hold me back from him. So that is what drew me. That's what drew me, was just a desire for him. And I didn't care if I was going to go up in front of everybody. I didn't care what it looked like. If it seemed stupid, I was like, I want to do this for you, because I want you, and there's nothing, I don't want anything to hold me back from you. Like, I want you that bad. So I got up out of my seat with that, and I went down, and there was a person who was there, a couple people who were praying, and like, I told him, like, kind of like what I wanted, and also that I was like, I also want wisdom too, because because I was like telling the person, what to pray for. I'm like, I also want wisdom because I don't know what I'm doing. I need wisdom. I'm clueless as to how to live my life. And so he like prayed for me and like prayed that God would grant my desires, but like nothing. I did not feel a thing. I was just sitting there. I had poured out my heart of what I wanted. He prayed for me, but I didn't fall over. I didn't feel anything. Nothing came to my mind. So I just went back to my seat. Didn't think too much about it. I was maybe disappointed a little bit, but that wouldn't have been the first time. Just a little bit disappointed, but then I went back home, continued life. Well, in the next few weeks since that happened, God began to answer my prayer. And it happened at church, but it also happened at home. It happened when I was driving in my car. It happened everywhere I was. Like, he began to just draw me to him and reveal himself to me. And it wasn't like he revealed himself to me as if I saw him. It was more like the inside of me began to just know him. So it was like deep down inside, it was like he began to show me who he was. Deep down inside my heart, I began to know him. And he began to reveal himself to me in a really deep way. And in the way that I had asked for. It would happen like I would be driving in my car and it was like he was revealing himself to me in my heart, and I would just start crying. I would just cry my eyes out. I was bawling. Like, he showed me how much he loved me, and he showed me, it was like he was communicating to me on the inside, and it wasn't just me thinking anymore. It was like there was an active person inside of me who was talking back. Deep down, it was like this inside communication that was so deep that there weren't even words really involved. It was like heart to heart. And it literally was not even me. I literally felt like if I was a puzzle piece, I was matched with the other piece of the puzzle. And we fit together perfectly. And he was like, it was as if like, I can't even describe it. It was like, I could reach out for myself and he was right there. Like, he was so close. And it was a love that was so strong that it was enough. I mean, I can tell you there is not anything more powerful than this love that I felt. I just knew it. Like, I would die for that love. Like, I was like, God, I don't care if I'm in a box that's like 3 feet by 3 feet and I'm curled up in there. I don't care. Like, as long as I have you and I have this presence with me, I will do anything for you. I will go anywhere. I will do anything in the world. And at that point, like, I dropped everything, like, not out of obligation, but because I wanted to. Like, I wanted to give everything up for him. Like, he loved me so completely and so fully. And it was the thing I had been looking for my whole entire life. Like, I never felt more complete and more full and filled with so much love and so much passion and so much life. And out of that, I began to love everybody around me with so much love. Like, I loved my husband, and I loved my kids, and I loved my family, and I just loved everybody. And all the issues that I had were like, I didn't even see him anymore. There was like no issues. I was just like, Jesus. Like, all I could think about was Jesus. I was so just in love. And like, I would go to the grocery store, and I remember the cashier. I saw the cashier, and I was like, I love her so much. And I didn't even know why, but I just loved her. And but it was like the fruit of it just happened. I didn't try to love people. It just happened because he had showed me how much he loved me, and it just happened. It was like a byproduct of this knowing him. And I remember rocking Jeremy. He was like 2 or 3. I remember rocking him on the chair, on the rocking chair in the middle of the night, rocking him to sleep, and just feeling the love of God just pour through me. And I loved my son so much, Jeremy. I just remember holding him and loving him like I couldn't even imagine how I could love him that much. And I knew it wasn't even my love. I knew it was God's love. Like, I was so aware of that. I was so aware that it was not me, that it was him. I was so aware of him inside of me. And that's where I officially gave my life to the Lord. Like, before I did it out of duty or out of fear, but at that point I gave my life fully out of love. And I said, this is what I was born for. This is what I give my life to for the rest of my life. Like, this is it. And so that's the biggest part of my story. I just remembered something else that, like, I also remember that during that time, like, I knew I was struggling with some things in my health, a few things, and I didn't know what they were, but I remember those things fell off of me too. We would be in worship at church, and I remember just feeling the presence of God so strongly and just being, like, so wrapped up in him. And issues that I had, like, with family and friends and different things like that, all of it just was resolved. Like, I felt the wisdom of God, exactly what I prayed for. I began to see, like, how the enemy was trying to trip me up, you know, like, say, getting frustrated at my kid for something, little things, and I began to see how I could avoid those trip-ups. I began to see how I could avoid it and stay in the presence of God and not be tripped up by those things. And so it was literally, it felt like pure heaven. Like, it was incredible. And at the same time, I knew that it was for everybody. I knew that it wasn't just for me. I had just, like, full faith. Like, I could just look at somebody and be, like, so full of love and faith for them. Like, I could just see through all of their problems, you know, of whatever they were dealing with. And I knew that, like, God was bigger than that, and that God had, you know, he was just, his plans were of good, were for everyone. So anyways, that's pretty much the end of this story for now. Is that I got interrupted, by the way, but yeah, I won't ever forget that. That has been the defining moment of my life, and I feel like he showed me my end, even though I had to go through some things, like, to fully walk in that forever. Like, he showed me what it can be like, because it didn't stay, you know, that real for me. Like, it did fade, and I like I said, I still have gone through things, you know, with, you know, not feeling his presence and other things in life, but I feel like he showed me his promise and who I am to him and who he is to me, very personally, and that will forever define me. And so I'm so happy. Like, anytime whenever I start realizing I'm in a, you know, feeling like I'm in a low place, and then I remember, and I'm like, how could I not be thankful? Like, I have this king who is so amazing. Like, he just loves me. The king of the universe is in love with me. Like, he's on my side. Like, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for than to be, like, you know, the one that he loves? You know, the king of the universe. You see, like, this over here, this whole world, like, everything here, like, he made for us to enjoy with him. It's like, you're here enjoying what he made, and you get to have relationships with the other people that he made that are, you know, that are his sons and daughters too. And there's a lot of evil in the world, but when you begin to see Jesus, when you really begin to know him, it's just like, and you get a different perspective. You get a different perspective, and it's, you realize you have so much to be thankful for. You're his, and you're the object of his affections. He adores you, and you have him on your side forever, and he's like the most faithful one. He will never let you down. He's like so pure and good. He's pure and good through and through. There's not a spot of imperfection in him. Like, He's the dream husband for all you ladies out there. He's like the dream father for everyone who needs a father. He's the dream person, you know, for like, I don't, he's, you know what I'm saying, like, he's not a person yet, he has a personality, and he's so perfect. He's absolutely perfect through and through, and, you know, you might think you know him all, and then he surprises you with something else that's so delightful about him. You know, he has a sense of humor, and then you realize that he's, you know, this way or that way, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and you just love him even more, and you realize how faithful he is through the things that you go through, and that he's like the sun who comes up every day and it never fails. You can always count that the sun will come up, and that's the shadow of Jesus. He's like the sun that comes up every day, never will fail, ever, 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 ever. So now our confidence is not in ourselves, but it's in him, you know. So all the glory goes back to him, and he's just so beautiful. He's the most tender person that you've ever met. Like, there's this verse in Psalms that says, your gentleness has made me great. And so I added to it. I said, your tenderness has broken me. It's like he's so tender it will turn you into a puddle, because he's so gentle. And I guess maybe that's what I respond to, you know. Some people maybe they respond to the loud, powerful stuff. I guess I respond to something that's more gentle. But he knows each person, and he knows exactly how to reach you in exactly your language. He knows he speaks your language, and so you can understand him, and he can understand you like perfectly, more than any other human could. And so yeah, it's just he's endless and amazing, and it's the best, it's the most exciting journey ever to think that I will have forever. Like, you can never finish finding him out. You can never finish knowing him. You can never finish learning who he is. He's always new, and every day you can learn something new about him. Even if it's just like the most mundane day, you know that he's teaching, you know that there's something in it. And at some point, I'm learning now, it's like, it's not about me anymore. It's about you. You know, it's not about, you know, I just let go of it, you know, being of expectations and of it being about me. Because if it's all about him, then you know your faith begins to grow, and you just realize you're on a journey, and he's taking you, and it's all about him. It's not about you trying to, you know, you can't do anything on your own. So anyways, okay, so I'm done now. More another time.